Can I come in?
Here we go. We are live. Hello, everybody. This is Peter Palmiotti, and this is Comics and Art, episode 38. I want to show off something first. So, everybody knows I pledged to Kickstarters, and I thought I'd show these off. You may know these by a little Shelby Robinson. Got these in the mail recently, Madam Satan.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Very nice.
Yeah, very cool. So I got reading to do. But I usually jump around on retro pages, and I'm actually working today on the last page. For the last 8 pages, the artist, which is Richard Fuchsia, changed his style a little bit, so this will be challenging. But once it's all put together and colored, it'll look good, really good. But yeah, so I want to mention a couple things up front. I'm getting new subscribers, and I appreciate totally all the people subscribing to my channel. I'm trying to bust to 1,000 so I can be part of the YouTube program again. Yeah, so if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the like button. One thing I've noticed recently, it's like I used to upload a lot more than do streams, and I used to have a lot more comments on my channel. Those have disappeared lately. I don't know if everybody's more busy or whatever, but I love getting comments, and I answer each and every one. If you're watching this later, then please leave a comment, a question, a guest you want to have, see on my channel. Any of that will be cool. And you can support the channel. I have a Patreon, or I have also a PayPal link where you can donate, buy me coffee or whatever off the bat. But yeah, so today I have Phillip Russertt. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Of CreatorCon, and he's with me to talk about all he does. So yeah, we can talk about your convention right off the bat.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm a fan of your work, by the way.
Thanks.
So my show was the Suffolk Comic and Art Expo here in Suffolk County, Long Island. I rebranded the name as CreatorCon because I am strict. My celebrities are the comic creators. I don't do TV and pop culture. I'm a big art collector, as you can see behind me. So I love the artists. I have a great artist alley every show, and I have well-established people at the show. I also have a lot of local people at the show. Local artists, and it's wall-to-wall comics. So like I said, now I'm CreatorCon, which is on hiatus, unfortunately, with everything going on, but we will be up and running again.
Yeah, it's understandable. Yeah, we're getting people in the chat. Welcome. Let's see if I can do this. Good.
Hey, Del.
Gravy Guzman.
Hi, Dan. Yeah. How are you? Hey, Mike. How are you? Mike's a great artist, by the way. I was just talking to him earlier.
Cool. Welcome.
So,
yeah, if you want
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, I've been an art collector for many years, and as you can see behind me, I have a lot of jam pieces. And what a jam piece is you get a skeleton layout, and then a different artist does each character. And I have 18 of them. So I've gotten quite a bit, and that's not the only art I get, but I've gotten quite a bit of art over the years, and I've gotten to know a lot of artists, and friends with some, friendly with others, you know. And I kind of got, not to knock anybody, but I got tired of how conventions were going. Being that I'm an art collector, and I was watching Artist Alley kind of drag while everybody was online for TV, you know, CW actors, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. It just wasn't my cup of tea. So I said, you know what? What's the best thing to do? If you're not happy with a con, why don't I just do my own? So I made my own. It was a smaller show in a hotel, and I had guys like Rags Morales and Joseph Rubenstein and Scott Hanna and Jim Calafiore and a bunch of people, and it was a success, and got a lot of art collectors and people of right, like thinking, and we had a blast. And then I just continued shows after that, and I've had Scott Williams and Alex Sinclair and Mark Bagley, and I get a lot of great people from the industry that I personally was always a fan of. So
That's awesome. That, yeah, definitely names I recognize, and hopefully the audience as well. So how many years have you been running it?
well, see, that's the thing. I had been doing them every 6 months. They were 1 day shows, so it was really just in a almost just a little more than a year time frame that I was doing them. And then I decided I'm going to go once a year and do a 2 day show. You know, attendance had picked up, and obviously, I was getting interest from artists. They were, you know, word of mouth that they were treated well, and it was a fun show. So a lot of, you know, quote unquote big names wanted to come to the show. So let's make it more worth their while and make it 2 days. And then of course COVID hit. So, you know, we're on hiatus right now, but the next show will be planned soon, and it'll be 2 days. But I'll be moving out of Long Island probably to Queens, New York. But I'll still be in New York.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's like I've always thought, if I was ever to do a show myself, which no plans, it's too much work, but
it is a lot.
But yeah, I would love just to focus on creators, focus on the artists themselves. There's so many conventions spiraling into Hollywood and all that other jazz that's awesome. And I would, I'm no longer living in New York, but somewhere in the future, I would love to come out to one of your shows.
You'd be welcome as a guest anytime. I have a table for you.
Awesome.
Yeah. By the way, I'm a big fan and have a big appreciation for inkers. I don't think they get anywhere near the credit they should. And I always have a large array of inkers at my shows too, like Mark Morales, Scott Hanna, Norm Ratman, you name it, Scott Williams. You guys, I think, really kind of the unsung heroes. You don't get enough credit.
Yeah, and I mean, it is sort of being phased out of the industry, but I love it. It's like that was my into comics, inking, and now I'm expanding into creating my own books. I'll be writing, I'll be penciling eventually, as well as inking, and if I can make a living on just inking today, I would still just be doing that, because
Right.
it's just a love. It's a skill unto itself. It's only in the comic industry where you see it, but I just love collaborating with artists and inking their work, and I always ask artists, what are you looking for? Because I'm one of those flexible inkers that try to cater to the penciler. I appreciate their work so much, and
I don't think people realize how often inkers tighten up and clean up some pencils too, or sometimes you guys will just get roughs, and you're basically finishing the art, depending on the situation. And I don't think people understand the difference in line weights and stuff. I think there's a stigma that it's tracing, and it's not. there's an art to it. I mean, line weights are important, and knowing where your light sources are coming from, especially if there's multiple light sources. I just find that really fascinating. I mean, I can't draw for the life of me. My wife can, but I just find it interesting.
Is she working on this? Is she, or is she do it
No,
for?
she's not confident enough to be. She's very good, and of course, she hasn't had any formal training, so that she has growth, that she could achieve. But I think she's excellent right now. She just doesn't realize it herself. So
Right, yeah, yeah. We'll push her.
Dan Dan said that I pull the same witchcraft on the artist that I pulled with getting my wife. My wife she's younger than me, and she's a very beautiful woman. So everybody always asks, "How the hell did you get such a beautiful woman?" And I just tell them duct tape and chloroform.
Okay. We don't encourage or endorse that on my channel.
Don't worry, it wasn't a black van with no plates. I'm just.
Yeah. But if it works,
Yeah. I went up to Arthur Adams, and he asked us when he goes, "How did you get such a beautiful woman?" And I said that to him, and Arthur looked at me, and he kind of his head tilted, and he goes, Art goes, "Should I be reporting this?" Or so I don't think he was like, "I hope this guy's kidding." So.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. You never know. People in comics are crazy.
Well, being in a studio 12 hours a day is tough. I mean, you don't get a lot of social outlet, until you go to conventions.
Yeah, man. I was never a big convention guy myself. But obviously, back when I lived in New York, it was just easy to wake up, go into the city, and go to a local convention. There are big ones, there are small ones. Happening throughout the year. Where I am now, I'm in a small town where we had a comic store for like 1 year, and then it disappeared.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like I have to go to like Louisville, which is I'm out in Kentucky, so I have to go to Louisville, which is the big town in Kentucky to hit up a couple of comic stores. But nowadays I get a lot of creator-owned books. Mostly is what I'm into now.
Yeah, indie scene's big right now. There's a lot of quality stuff coming out.
Yeah.
By the way, there's some funny people in the group right now. Someone's mentioning Stockholm Syndrome sketch therapy. He's talking about Stockholm Syndrome. These guys are funny.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to keep up with the chat now, but let's see. We got Dan Strathberg. We got Gravy Guzman, Mike Ratliff. Who else? Yeah, Sketch Survey. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, everybody's messing with Phil, I guess.
Oh, I love it. I'm friends with Chris Campana, and him and I always go back and forth and razz each other. And live on my show, I thought about it. I'm thinking of having a live roast where the artists can roast me that want to, because there's quite a few that want to. So, and nobody's ever done that. So I thought it might be fun as long as they come up with funny jokes. If not, I'm going to have to razz them. So we might get that going.
Could be a whole game show.
Yeah, I mean, like Buzz is always telling me, "How the hell did your ugly fat ass? Oh, sorry, fat rear end get a woman like that?" So, I got a few.
Yeah, you can curse. It's okay.
All right.
This show isn't for kids, so
I didn't know if it was PG-13 or what.
Nah, there was some hoopla with YouTube, and you have to be kid specific nowadays, and I don't worry about that. So say what you want.
Yeah, my show's new to YouTube, so I'm just getting to know the ropes.
Yeah, which I'll mention right now. It's called CreatorCon Events. and if I don't already, I'll put the link in the video description box for people to click on and go to. It's definitely, you already have a lot of interviews there, and you have another segment I haven't checked out yet, where it's writers, artists. It's more, is it more of a gang, creator gang?
That's just I do like just unscripted comic book chats with people. Like I did one that was just talking about CGC and its effects on the industry and what do we feel about it. So I had a very pro CGC guy on there, and I'm kind of in the middle about the whole CGC thing. Like I see the need for it, but I also see how it's kind of made comics even more of a business than ever. But I do like tonight actually at 10 o'clock. I'm going to have another sit down just talking with somebody who's a writer about how they're writing. They're writing heroes to be kind of more like villains now, because villains seem to be more popular, or the anti-hero and things like that. So, and I'm also going to be doing on the show for more content, like my jams back here. I'm going to go through a jam one episode. It's like a 15-20 minute show. I'll show the artwork, talk about the artist that did the specific character at the time, and I like to give exposure to artists. I mean, some of them obviously don't need it; they're big, but I still like to give exposure to artists, give them the credit that's due. I love what you guys do. So
That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. If you're just hearing of Phil, you're just hearing of CreatorCon, go to his channel and subscribe to his channel. Check out past episodes and upcoming. And I don't know if you want to mention, but you're booked solid on that channel.
yeah, so I have the regular physical convention. It's on hiatus. Hey, Enrique, what's going on? And Idle Hands is the Devil's Workshop, or Idle Mind, or whatever it is. And I was just going bat crazy because I love this and I needed to do something. And I saw a lot of people, a lot of artists are like, it's tough without the conventions. I'm not getting commissions because people are broke. I'm not getting exposure like I was. Pencils down for a lot of the major artists. A lot of these things going on. So I put up a post and I said, hey, what if I did this CreatorCon Q&A? Just sit down, casual chat with different artists and writers and creators, etc., just to give them exposure, help them through this time, and also give the fans that are stuck at home, kind of going out of their mind, some entertainment. Because you go on Facebook and you'll want to jump out a window with all the negativity and all the crap going on. And I was like, why don't I, even if it's just for an hour or so, maybe just try to provide an hour where people can just escape, get back into what we all grew up and loved, and remember what it is that unites us instead of divides us. Superheroes and art and great stories and and the mythos of Marvel and DC and Valiant and all of those things. So I put up the post and I said, thinking I'd get like 5 responses. I said, what do you guys think? And I got about, I don't know, 75 to 100 responses, and anywhere from local artists to, bigger name artists that said, yeah, go for it. And I was like, all right, I guess we're going to do this. I had no clue about tech. I didn't know how to use Facebook very well. But I'm a kind of guy that looks at a pool and goes, oh, look, let's see if I can swim. And I just jump. So a lot of people were reaching out to me already, and it was booking fast. And, some I reached out to myself. So, yeah, I'm booked through January now. I'm looking at February, and we have like Ian Churchill, Joe Prado, Alex Sinclair, Bob Hall, who, did West Coast Avengers and some other books, Keith Williams, Sean Chen, Artie Bear. We have a lot. And then we also have some really, really talented local artists that, they're the ones that could use the exposure the most. And a lot of local people, I think, were kind of shy to reach out to me about the show because they saw I was getting like the quote unquote celebrity artists and stuff. And I tried to explain to them, hey, Pete, thanks for coming out. And I try to explain to them that's to get an audience and a following that, and I want to help them too. But that way, when that local person comes on, they have people watching, they have eyes on them, they, possible commissions and networking. And and just getting yourself out there and starting to get a, if I can anyway help them have an online presence if they don't already,
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely like, it's become part of the business for a lot of independent artists and creators and writers and all that. And getting on other channels and talking about what you're doing is definitely a way to increase their following. So that's very cool of you.
Well, I keep telling everybody too, it's not even about your likes or your follows, it's about engagement. You want people to engage with you. I mean, you want people commenting. Comments help the algorithms and get attention to your page. Likes only go so far, but they don't really equate to commissions, and they don't equate to these things because people will just go down their feed and hit like. But when they stop and they engage and they're listening and looking at what you're posting and they're responding to it, that's just fruitful for everybody.
Yeah, no, definitely. I get plenty of likes. It's like, yeah, that doesn't feed my cats.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I on my Q&A, I have a lot of fan interaction. I make sure they're part of it because without conventions, I want them to be able to have that one-on-one. Like, if Ian Churchill's on, how many people get to see Ian Churchill at a show? He lives in Britain, and he's a great guy, and I love his work. So now you come on my show, and I'm addressing your question is being posted, and I'm showing it to Ian, and Ian is talking directly to that person now, and they feel a part of it. Like we're just talking across a convention table, hanging out as fans in a group, and everybody feels included because at the end of the day, people just want to feel like they belong. They're recognized. They're part of something. Nobody wants to be alienated and feel like they're not existing. You know what I mean? So I have we did Enrique just brought it up, the Rogues Gallery. I did a contest because I have really, really, really loyal people that I love. They're great people that come to every show, and there's a good 10 or 11 of them at least, thinking off the top of my head. So I was like, let's do a contest for a giveaway and come up with a name, like some sort of posse name for you guys. And they came up with the Rogues Gallery. That's the one I picked because they're always ribbing me and joking. They're my rogues, but they're faithful and they come in all the time. So a guy named Steve Garcia, who is his wife's birthday today, so he couldn't be on. He'll watch later. He came up with the name and he won. And Steve, by the way, has done work on like the Iron Giant and some other movies, and he's a great guy. So
Nice.
Enrique brought up the Rogues Gallery rules, and they do. They're really just a great bunch of people. And like I said, with Facebook sometimes being rough, these guys they're good guys and gals. They're good people. They're really good people, and a lot of them are creators themselves that I really hope are successful and get exposure, and they deserve it. They're just good people.
Yeah. Like what you mentioned, like not knowing how to work things online. It's like, it's almost necessary nowadays. I know, like, I used to be, just working 7 days a week in my studio and at home and just, wouldn't interact with anybody. But it's a
Yeah.
whole different world now. And it took me a while. And, some people say I'm very good at it. I think I still got a lot to learn, but
Yeah,
uh,
stay humble and you stay hungry because anytime someone feels comfortable and complacent, they've stopped growing.
yeah, no, definitely. But, it's like, it's not too hard to do some basics and just get out there and talk about what you're working on and your craft and it's the community is there and you know to get the support, to get the you it's almost like you don't realize um your struggles and your challenges are common.
Right.
Unless you talk with a lot of other creators, it's like, you feel like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I don't know the basic stuff of doing this or that or whatever. And it's like, everybody's out there, trying to do a lot of the same things and facing a lot of the same challenges. And, a simple conversation with a couple of people and you're like, oh man, I don't feel so bad now. It's all okay. It's all going to work out.
Well, people forget that despite any celebrity status in the industry you may have, you're still human. You're bearing your soul when you do a piece of art and a commission for somebody, and you're hoping that they like it and they're not disappointed. And if you're drawing live at a convention while you're talking to somebody and people are standing over you, I would feel, a little self-conscious. I'm creating this and they're staring at it, and hoping they like it. So I think people forget that you're humans too. You have your moments of self-doubt and lack of self-confidence. And then, like you said, being in a studio all the time, you don't have a lot of social interaction. And then when you're thrust out into a public situation, sometimes it feels a little out of your element, I would think.
Yeah. I remember I did one of the big New York conventions back in the day, and there was, lots of news people floating around, and one guy with a camera came to my table and was like, "Do you mind if I film?" I was like, "No." I was doing a convention sketch with somebody, and I didn't mind, but at the same time, it was like, "Holy shit, I'm sweating." It's like,
How many people are seeing this, right?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's going to be a blip on the evening news, but I don't know specifically what part of it he's going to catch. So I'm
Right.
trying to do my best job on the commission and look cool. It's like,
Yeah. Don't let them see the beads of sweat.
yeah.
Dan was asking me, if you don't mind, was it tough getting the artists to attend CreatorCon? Because I had been getting art for so long and I had developed a lot of friendships and relationships, even if they weren't like close friendships, but at least friendly. Like when I see them, hey, Phil, how are you? It wasn't as hard as I thought. I mean, there are some people that are kind of untouchable or very difficult, and you work on them. But I've been very fortunate. I don't know if it's my approach, but guys like Alex Ross and Michael Bendis, they actually talk to me. They respond to me. They haven't said yes yet, but they talk to me. Although Michael Bendis did say he's interested in doing a Q&A show. We haven't solidified a date yet because he's been busy. But I feel like life is a 12-round fight, and I didn't get a beautiful wife because I quit. So
Right.
I mean, obviously I'm not rude or I don't hound people because that just turns them away. But I keep their contact information, and every once in a blue moon reach out and see if they're interested, and I try to be humble in my approach, and even if they say they can't make it, you're building relationships, you're building connections. Again, this is round one. Maybe in round four they show up. You know what I mean? So I don't worry about that stuff. But if you look on my Instagram, I'm very fortunate. I get a lot of great artists, and not only am I getting these name artists, but I have a lot of great local people. Pete Vasquez, who's here, and Enrique Lopez. These are local guys that, you go to their tables and you'll get every bit as quality and affordable too. I mean, I don't think people realize how important they are to a show. Not everybody can afford to pay for a name of an artist as well as their talent. So if you can get
Yeah.
somebody that's just as talented, but you don't pay the agent or fee or the name, people can walk home and feel like, hey, I got this great piece of art I can frame, and I didn't have to bust my wallet to do it. So I think it's very important.
Yeah. I mean, I've been at plenty of conventions as a fan alone, and all the big names. It's like I want to pick up their books, but yeah, it's like if I want some artwork, a sketch or something, I go to the average guy or the average girl and say, hey, I really love your style and approach. Can you do something for me?
Right. Meanwhile, it's so funny, some of the people in here. Someone mentioned Red Lobster. Do you know who Geraldo Borges is? He
No.
he's an artist for DC and Marvel,
Okay.
and he was on my show. And he lives in Chile, and he said, that he loves Red Lobster, but they don't have one out there. So when I see him in New York Con, we'll go out to dinner, and so the joke with the Rogues Galleries now is I'm taking everybody to Red Lobster and this and that. So everywhere we go, they mention Shake Shack and Red Lobster, and I'm supposed to be dropping the dime. So. And Dan said, as much as we roast Phil, his complexion should be darker. I'm Irish. I have two complexions, pale white or red. That's it, buddy. That's it. And thanks, Pete, for the kind words about my first show. He said he was at my first show, and it was phenomenal. And yes, of course, you could be on the Q&A, Pete, anytime. Just unfortunately, like I said, I'm booked to January, but anytime you want. After that, you're welcome. I encourage everybody to reach out to me. I mean, no disrespect, but I can't chase everybody. I got a lot of things going. So, but DM me, and I will always respond, and we'll schedule and put you on, no problem. So I love to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, and anybody who wants to be on my channel, promote whatever they get going on, show off what they're doing, just message me on Facebook is the easiest way. Sometimes it goes to, I forget what they call it. Not.
It's like when you're not a friend, that other box, right? And you don't always know it's there.
The other box. I have to search my other box every once in a while, and people always want to become my friend, and I'm already maxed out on Facebook, but people drop off. People, it seems like the last 6 months or so, a lot more people have dropped off of Facebook or dropped off of being my friend. I don't know. Either case.
Well, it's kind of weird. I mean, because this is my probably unpopular opinion, but with everybody being home, there was a big boom with virtual conventions and artists doing their live drawings and stuff and having their shows.
Right.
But I think some people are getting bored of it after a while because a physical convention has an energy, that you can't capture here. I mean, and me personally, I could watch you ink that for the next 2 hours and be totally content. But I don't know how others feel about that, and they like interaction. And it's tough when you're just a spectator watching two other people talk, or, I mean, unless you're Todd McFarlane, people don't really, you're not grabbing their ear very well. I mean, I'm surprised this many people are listening to me shoot off at the mouth, but it's just weird. And yes, Enrique will be on my show on November 3rd.
Oh, sweet.
And at my show, I treat everybody like a king. Like if you ever come to my show, Peter, every 5 minutes they're walking around giving you water. I have a green room for everyone. It is not, it's all inclusive. And you need a break. We have people that come watch your table for you if you need to go to the restroom or whatever, or whatever you need, we take care of you. So we have a great hospitality staff for everybody at the show.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, I mean, not every creator can come with somebody to watch the table, so that's definitely a perk.
No, I mean, we really do. I know, like, a lot of people think, oh, you got this great job, you just sit there and draw. First of all, your eyes, your neck, your back are shot. Second of all, it is exhausting being a salesman and a socialite and drawing for an 8-hour day and then coming back into the time. Then you have commissions that you're taking back to the hotel overnight. And I don't think people realize how, as much as you may love what you're doing, it can be exhausting to do a convention. So if there's anything I can do to make it easier on you guys, I like to.
Oh, yeah. I love conventions, but yeah, they take a lot out of me. Mostly, I'm a bad creator because I like to run around a lot. Go see all the other people that are there that I don't see, on a daily basis, and say hello.
Right.
I know there's always the evening gatherings, and usually drinking and eating and whatnot. But I like to see people at the show, at their tables, see what they got going on, because, I know it's like easier and easier to just go online, type in somebody's name and go see what they're up to. But, there's something about being there in person and saying hi and shaking their hand, at least in the past.
We'll do fist bumps or elbows now.
Bump elbows. But, yeah, it's, I love conventions for that. And yeah, it's freaking exhausting. Just being there and talking with everybody, and you want to give everybody a decent amount of time to chat and say hello, and any questions answered and all that. So how organized now are you, from like the point when you started to now? Like, have you gotten
with
better?
the physical convention or the online?
Yeah. Well, either or both,
Both. Well,
Yeah.
the funny thing is, my wife says I have Phil's OCD. When my mind is set on a project, I am like a pit bull, and I've always been very organized, and I can multitask 4 or 5 things at once, which is a blessing and curse for her. It drives her crazy. I'm a very motivated, focused person. Um, so organizing the show, it was actually seemed second nature to me from the start. So I feel like I found my niche. The But I like to go out of my comfort zone, because if you stay comfortable, it's I don't think it's a good thing to just stay comfortable. I like not being comfortable. I think it makes me better. And so I'm very bad at tech. I mean, I'm terrible. And I'm sure there's people on here that knows, because I've asked them for help on the stupidest thing on Facebook or Instagram. I'm just terrible. And I put up that post about doing the CreatorCon Q&A, and 3 days later I was on. Now, if you go back on my page on Facebook and you look, you'll see all the test videos I did, and they're horrible because they're bad. I can't figure out how to do this or that. I'm talking to myself, and everybody's getting a laugh. But I think one of my strengths is I don't really care what people. My motto is, your opinion of me is none of my business. So I don't care if they laugh at me, because what I'm doing is getting smarter and better at something.
Yeah.
And they won't be laughing when the show is going well. Or at least they will, but for the good reasons, the right reasons. So within 3 days, I had my first show with Scott Hanna, but I do think I've gotten better at my interviewing. I've definitely gotten to understand StreamYard better. Where putting up my logo, making it look more professional. I did upgrade equipment to a more professional microphone and camera, so that helps. But like you said before, you're never satisfied, so you're always thinking I can be better. So you just keep striving at that. So I think I share that same thing that you had said before, which makes you obviously, just continue to be better and improve. I don't like to be stagnant. To me, that's a slow death.
Yeah. And and it's also important to like realize where you should put your energy. It's like, yeah, I want to be a better YouTuber. I want the picture to be better and the video to be fancier, yada yada. It's like I only spend so much time on my video covers and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, it's like I'm working on my book here, and it's like I really want that to be the most important thing.
Of course,
So
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So you know, um, a lot of the reason why I decided sort of on this format is, it's like it's encouraging to have people show up in the chat and to be talking with people while I'm working on my book, rather than spending 24/7 just by myself and
Right.
not talking to anybody. So it's like, yeah, it's like everybody that shows up, everybody that watches the video later, everybody that comments, um it all pushes me to, it's like, oh, they're interested in what I'm doing, and
Oh
I
yeah.
just take that, naturally, as they're interested in my book. That's what why they're here.
Well, I don't know when your book is coming out, but if you want to come on the show and plug it, and we'll talk and get, if there's anything I could do to help, I'd be happy to. So,
Yes, absolutely, definitely. You know,
I mean,
good.
I had someone say to me, "Hi, Anna." Someone said to me that I'm doing this show to promote my convention, and I'm like, there is no convention right now, so I'm not really promoting it, and I could just hit the promote button and throw a few dollars at a post and not spend all the time it takes to research and schedule and organize. And having learned how to do the tech and threw myself out there, I really do want to help artists and creators and writers, especially the indie scene right now. I mean, I don't know if I'm making a difference, but I know I want to try. And if in any way I can help them, I just feel like we're spending too much time tearing each other down instead of building each other up, and it's really getting to me because I'm a motivated person and I see so many people that are talented, but they're not getting this. They're not good self motivators, and they're letting external opinions or the cruelty of people or just selfish people make them go the other way, and they're not going to reach their potential because they're not good at self-motivating. So I want to help them. I don't mean this in any arrogant way by any means, but I just feel like we're stronger as a community as opposed to being individuals. And I have had people reach out to me in DM that I've never met before, and they're artists, and I always happily, respond and reciprocate. And if I can help in any way, and I actually get upset when I can't. Like if I don't help, if someone comes off my show and I'm like, I got one commission or two followers, I feel like I failed them. I let them down. Because I don't want anybody to feel like they can't achieve their dream. I want everybody to feel like I can do this as long as you're willing to work really hard, 100%. That's all I'm hoping for. That's just, I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to reach their potential. I want everybody to know that they are worth it, as long as they're willing to put in the effort. But you have to bleed. You have to sweat. You have to take the punches to the gut and the chest and the jaw. You have to. That's life. That's just the way it goes. And if you're willing to take those punches, I'm happy to be your corner man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. And for the brief time that I've known you, and I could tell right away, like how eloquent you were with just the messages we sent back and forth, and how
My wife would
approachable.
laugh at you for saying that, but but thank you.
Well, you were very sweet, very kind, very open, and I've done chats with so many people. And I'm just an average guy from Brooklyn. There's nothing eloquent of me out there, but it's like I could tell that you were friendly and open and just like honest and I don't feel that way from just simple text messages from a lot of people.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm a loudmouth Irish, and yes, Enrique, you're right. I'm not eloquent, but I am humble. I do. I
Yeah.
recognize. First of all, I think it's important to recognize my station in life where I am right now. I don't think I'm further than I am, but I also am confident enough to know that I'm not lesser than I am, if that makes any sense.
Right.
And I think that's important for me. And when I reach out to people, I am a very honest person to a fault. Unfortunately, sometimes honesty pisses people off. But all my contacts are humble, and I do try to be a person of integrity. Like when I asked you about sharing the post, because I recognized that was a post you created. You didn't just copy a meme, and I don't like stealing things. I don't like doing that to people. So I was like, hey, do you mind if I? That was a good question. Can I post that as well? I
Yeah.
just think it's the right thing to do. You have to have a code of ethics. I mean, and I think there are just some ethics that are universal or should be universal, And I think if people just weren't lazy and just were able to follow a few of those codes of ethics, and maybe not think of yourself all the time, we could just be so much better and stronger together. I mean, I know it sounds so corny and this is like kumbaya and crap, but I mean, it really is true. We're all going through the same stuff. We all feel self-doubt. We all feel anger. We all feel depression. We all look at what's going on certain situations and go, oh my God, what's going on here? We all feel fear. We all beat ourselves up over things. We all feel insecure. We all feel jealous. And for us to act like we don't all experience those things and that, and to deny that, it makes us alienate each other. But if you can embrace that and say, look, yeah, maybe we're not so different. You feel those insecurities just like I do. Even if I'm sure even Todd McFarlane has times where he's like, man, is this going to work? Can I do this? Or at least, maybe he did. I mean, it's the people that overcome it that wind up being successful. But to think that someone doesn't ever have those feelings or thoughts, I don't think that's true at all. And if we can acknowledge that and want to help each other get through that, I mean, wouldn't that just make it better for everybody?
Yeah. It's funny. My ex used to say that, it's like I like to be like a robot to a certain extent. And I agree with her to a certain point. Like, I can't get wrapped up in the emotions of everything. Like if I'm trying to get work done, it's like, it's like I gotta push that aside and focus on the work and get shit done. It's like I realize like I have every emotion going through me. I'm an artist. I'm incredibly screwed up in the brain. Like I don't have to acknowledge that every second of every day. It's like
But but just from an external point, I mean, I don't point it out. Oh, look, I know you're feeling this way right now. I don't put people under a microscope. But just if you could just acknowledge that we're not different and try to be there. But thank you, Anna. I appreciate that. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's we've lost a sense of community, and in a way, we've lost a sense of strength from that because everybody's isolated and alone, or think they are. And or they're if they're helping you, trust has been lost because you're like, why is this person helping me? They must be out for something. What are they looking to take from me? And I don't agree with that at all. My 8-year-old is begging me to come in here. Is it all right if she comes in and says hello?
Yeah.
Come on
in.
She's like jumping. Don't tear down everything. Take your time. We're here. I've been very lucky and blessed, not only with my wife, but she gave me 2 beautiful little girls that are awesome. Enrique's show is on at 8. Thanks for stopping by for a while, Enrique. I'll catch your show later. Enrique has a show on Instagram, by the way.
Aw, both
so
of them
this is Kaylee, aka She-Hulk. And actually, I call Kaylee my bear, Kaylee Bear, and the tall one is Melanie, and she's my kitten. And they're big comic fans and Star Wars fans, and we have lightsaber battles, and they have fun. What are you doing? You're such a ham. So if Kaylee is the little me, and Melanie is the little mommy.
Welcome. Hi, guys.
Yeah, they don't hear you because you're on headphones, but he's saying hello.
Yeah.
Don't hijack the show, or we're going to have to give you the boot like the Sandman from the Apollo Theater. We come out with a cane and we hook you and pull you out of here. You're leaving, right? Well, say goodnight to everyone. You can speak. They can hear you. You just can't hear them.
Good night. Good night. Love you.
Aww. That's so sweet.
Yeah, they're really good kids. I'm very lucky. Very lucky. Yeah. I was a pain in the rear end as a kid, so luckily, karma didn't hit me. All right. Well, anyway, get out of here, you ham. Go. Seriously, go ahead. You gotta get ready for bed. Kaylee.
Mommy's gonna be back for you. Mommy's gonna come in now.
Sorry for blowing everybody's ears out.
Yes.
Now, Kaylee, just to give you an idea, when she was 2, would go around the house going puny banner, Hulk smash, and then slam her fists on the ground. So we knew what we were in for at an early age. But anyway, sorry for that. Thank you for letting them come on. They were dying to be on.
The greatest thing I've ever encountered were kids at shows.
Yeah.
They are so, like, you are the universe. Like, if they come to your table, oh, what are you doing? What are you drawing? Oh, can we watch? I mean, their kids are freaking adorable. I don't have any myself, but I love them.
Bye, Dan. Thanks for coming by. He said bye.
Bye,
thanks,
Dan.
Pete. I hope I'm parenting right. We'll see. They're young yet. They'll be teenagers in a few years, and I'll find out. And then, of course, I went all gray already, but then I'll be bald. But yeah, no, I mean, I can't draw, but I've always loved art. I don't love just comic book art. A lot of people think that's all I love, but I do love art in general. And I married a woman who's a very talented artist. She actually did a print for my last show. And of course, she's like, I don't like it. I think it looks great, but she doesn't like it. So
I'll have to check it out.
yeah, I'm actually for my Q&A, I'm gonna start doing some giveaways. Some comic books, some prints that I have, and things like that. So I'll come up with contests and giveaways on the shows for people to win and interact and things like that. And I mean, you have a much larger following than I do on YouTube, but I'm happy if there's any way I can help cross promote or whatever the case. Again, I'm kind of the weak link out of the two of us at this point, but if there's anything I could do to help, I'd love to.
Hey, every little bit helps. I mean, obviously, it's like I don't get this many people in the chat on an average basis. I could have 700 plus subscribers, but it's like everybody has their own schedule, or to check out later.
So Dan Strasberg, is that Dan Lee? Because he just said no, dummy. I said bye to the kids, so it's got to be Dan Lee. It's got to be Dan. Anyway, and Dante. Speaking of Buzz, for my last show, he did that Vampirella print for the show. I have a few left, and they're going to be given out as some of the gifts, as some of the giveaway prizes too. Buzz was very kind to me at my last show. He did a show exclusive print of Vampirella for me. So, and we had just a few left.
Yeah, for those don't know, I mean, I know Buzz from years ago from New York. Cool guy, He actually did a comic back in the day. But yeah, mostly he does prints and commissions, and he's freaking amazing. And I see him at cons all the time. He's used to do Buzz Bash, like Buzz Party.
Did he? Yeah, he's a character. The stories he tells, my God. I mean, the first time I met him, the story he told me, I was dying laughing. Yeah, Pete, he did. He just adopted a kitten. I know, it's cute. You see the soft side of Buzz. But yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've met a lot of people and befriended a lot of people. Like Norm Ratman just texted me. I think he's trying to bust my chops. Norm always likes to tease me. And I've met a lot of great people. I mean, I'm just getting to know you. I just met you. You've been very nice. You always respond right away, which I appreciate. I'm not gonna lie. I get a little. I'm not gonna say who, but I just recently reached out about my Q&A to someone who I really admire that person's work, and that person has always been very nice at a show, but I don't hound people. I send an email, and then maybe 3-4 weeks later, send another one. And I just say, look, if you're not interested, it's fine. I understand. Or if you're busy, but please just let me know as a professional courtesy, because I feel correspondence is a sign of respect. It's important. And the individual basically made it clear that they ignored me because it wasn't worth their time. So So my you were talking about how you have your. I'm an emotional guy. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, so it kind of irked me a little bit. I got my
Yeah,
Irish
I mean
one.
that's pretty coming to the point. I don't think I ever got a message like that.
Yeah, I hadn't either. Usually, sometimes people just ignore you and they don't respond. But also, I also know that a lot of artists are not very good at correspondence because they're not really very good at social media or marketing or just in general. But they don't mean anything by it. So that's why I'm patient with it. But when you out and out tell me I wasn't worth your time, I'm like, okay, thanks. Appreciate that.
One of the most difficult things is communicating online with people. Because a simple joke or a simple sentence can be construed 1,000 ways,
Right.
and people jump on bad conclusions sometimes, and it's like I try to keep it light.
Yeah, I don't jump to conclusions at all. Like I said, I
Yeah,
keep it I keep it patient. Sometimes they don't see it, or maybe it goes in that other box, like you said, if you're not a friend
yeah,
of theirs, so they don't know. But when you out now tell me that, yeah, I was ignoring you because you're not worth my time, there's no misconstruing that. But see, something like that just fuels me because I'm the kind of person, instead of cowering and going in within myself, like, oh man, I'm a nobody, I'm not good enough, I'm unimportant. That stuff never goes in my head. The first thing that goes in my head is, that's okay, you will know me. You
yeah,
will know me soon enough. That's how I feel. You say this to me now, but you won't be saying it to me eventually. Eventually, you're going to want to come to my show. You're going to want to be on it. And if you don't, you don't. But I am going to, you'll know me. It's
yeah.
just, that's my drive and motivation. I don't let stuff like that beat me down. I know what I'm worth. I know what I can do. And it doesn't matter to me if you do or not, because either way, it's going to happen.
There's a saying, I forget exactly how it goes, but like, um, you don't talk down to anyone because you never know when they might one day be your boss.
Right. No, that's
Yeah,
true. That's true. I mean, I don't talk down anyone just because I feel like, a lot of people say you have to earn my respect. No, you have my respect as a fellow human being. It's what you do to lose that respect. You have to earn my
yeah,
trust. You have to earn
yeah,
my trust, but you have my respect. I am no better than anybody else. I'm no less than anybody else. I'm no better than anybody else. Everyone, even at my show, I don't care if you're Tom Smith from up the road in Long Island, you will get the same respect as Adam Kubert did at my show, because you are a human being. You deserve it. Why would I treat you any less? Now, granted, Adam Kubert is a draw, so he might get perks, unfortunately, but that's just because you really are renting his name to get people in the
yeah,
door. So it's kind of the business. But that doesn't mean that the green room is off to you because you're not you're not published with DC or Marvel. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to walk around and make sure you have water and you're comfortable and you're taken care of and you're fed and spoken to well. I get back to everybody. Everybody. I'll get 100 emails in a day, and every single one, if I have to spend 2 hours at the end of the night after working my 4 jobs, I will respond to every single one. I just feel it's the proper respect. It's just me. I mean, I'm not trying to be too intense, but that's just me.
no, totally. So it's funny. So, do you work for other jobs?
I do. I'm a registered nurse, and I was actually working 5 jobs at a time while running my convention by myself. I do the show by myself. I don't have a staff. I don't have a crew. I mean, I wind up getting a volunteer crew, for the day of the show, but I do it all myself.
Wow,
And
that's impressive.
I was working 7 days a week and averaging 3 hours a night of sleep. I would sleep from 3 to 6. That's it, for about 2 years. Then COVID hit, and I thought, oh, I'll get some rest at least now that I'm not working, because even though I'm a nurse, I work for the Department of Health going to homes, and they don't want me going to homes right now in fear of spreading anything, so I haven't worked. And I thought I'd get more sleep, but I'm still getting 3 hours sleep. I just got used to it, I guess, so I don't sleep
Mm,
anymore. So
wow, that's impressive.
Well, I don't know how long it's going to last. I'm going to be 48 in October. And I'm young at heart, but my body's going, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
I'm a little older than you, and I can definitely say once I hit my early 50s, then that's when, like, I always used to be a stick. I started gaining weight. Now I have to think about things as opposed to just like shoving anything in my mouth or doing anything I want.
It's funny. I actually lost a lot of weight being home where a lot of people gained because I had the ability to walk and exercise because I do like to move around. But I lived a sedentary life being behind a computer, being in a car, driving from home to home. And, so I was just sitting. And I'm sure as an artist, it's tough because you're sitting all day too. So I finally got some exercise and I'm still pear shaped, but, I'm working on it.
It's a lovable pear shape,
Yeah, pear shape is in, man. It's a shape, right? I'm in shape. It's pear shape.
Yeah.
I just call me stupid. I've known your work. I've known who you were, and I thought he has the same last name, but I just was confirmed by you that you were brothers with Jimmy. I didn't even know that for sure, and so I thought that was funny because I'm good friends with Billy Tucci, who lives a few blocks from me, who's obviously friends with Jimmy.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm not sure, but I might have known Billy before Jimmy knew Billy. But anyway,
yeah.
I mean,
guy.
I've known Jimmy all my life. Yes, we're brothers. I'm the youngest of four. Only me and Jimmy are in comics. I mean, yeah, in part, we both grew up reading comics. My father took us to conventions. Took us to our first convention back in the day and encouraged our love of comics. The first time we came across comics back when was at our local barber shop. So they had Archie comics. They had what is it? Just like books like Archie. I forget titles now, but so it wasn't anything superhero. But eventually, we went to a few conventions and got into Marvel and DC. I was more Marvel, but I picked up a little bit of everything, and definitely picked up a lot of independence back in the day as well as today.
Who did you like working for better, Marvel or DC? Sorry, this is my Q&A. I'm reverting to the Q&A.
Yeah,
I'm asking you questions.
Well, we'll go into me, I guess, now. It really, it was never like Marvel and DC. It was whoever the editor, assistant editor were, whoever the artist was. Being an inker, I always tried to talk with the artists. And back in the day, it was phone calls because that's what was available.
Right.
And so it was whoever I connected with the best. And obviously, I worked with Cal Fury a ton, more than anybody else at Marvel and DC.
He's a funny guy.
We were, I had like $100 phone bills back in the day, because me and Cal Fury went over pages, and really, like, he got me in at DC because he was looking for another inker. He had Mark McKenna, but he was looking for somebody else because Mark was very busy working with other artists. So I did samples on Aquaman for Cal Fury, not necessarily the editor, and he approved, and then the editor was like, whatever Jim wants, and sort of got that gig. But it's like at Marvel, I had a lot of random stuff, and I worked on a lot of different artists. Cal Fury was one of them, but I did a lot of work on X-Men. Not the average person would know that, because I was one of the. It was the era where they had like 6 anchors on a book just to get it out on time, and I did so many 1-page, 2-page overnight things. I only got credited a couple of times. I did a few covers, mostly interior work, but anything from Gambit to Cable to Uncanny X-Men, anything in the X-Men universe
We're losing you.
back when. The one thing I would have loved to come out, which never did, me and Fury did a Deadpool one-shot where he was trying to get writing gigs. I forget exactly.
Hey there? We're losing you. You're frozen.
But he wrote
there you are. We were losing you. You're cutting in and out.
With Deadpool that he penned, but it never saw the light of day because, the one shot never saw the light because initially they shelved it. Then it was a month or two later, and they were like, "Oh, we'll release it now." But unfortunately, X-Men were changing their outfits like every week back then. And the Avengers changed their outfits, and Fantastic Four had different outfits. So for them to put out the one shot we did, they would have to do production over every character in the book, and it's like, we can't do this. You just shelved it.
That sucks. I'm sorry. I've noticed too.
Yeah, well, it happened.
I know a lot of people too, like Keith Williams and a bunch of other people that, Keith inked over John Byrne, for crying out loud, and a lot of guys that, because the editors and the people they knew and had connections with are no longer working, they've lost those connections in the industry, and it's tough. It's
Yeah, it's like we're just freelancers, and you have to, if your plan is to not only get work from Marvel, but work from Marvel for the next 10, 20, 30 years, you pretty much have to keep in touch. It's
right.
Like I had, from my work on Aquaman to whatever the last thing I did for Marvel, that was basically a chunk of like 7 years of work.
Right.
And most of it was, except for everybody knows me from Aquaman, because that was like during the Hook era. Peter David was writing, Carefree was penciling. I was inking. I inked a bunch of issues. I didn't do every issue, but Marvel is like so random and spread out. The only like single book where I did everything was like this one shot with from Forceworks, Sentry, that they put out.
I remember Sentry,
but when they put it out, nobody cared. It came out and like nobody cared. A lot of, I had like a handful of people approach me at convention, either with copies themselves or I still had copies, and Sentry, I love that. And it's like, can you sign it? All that jazz. But other than that, it was just completely random. The most proud moment at Marvel was that I worked on a couple of issues of Iron Man. It's like Iron Man. It's like there's so many favorites at Marvel, but Iron Man is my favorite character, and I got a chance to work on like a 2-issue story arc. I didn't do ink both of them, but I inked a lot of the pages of both issues,
right.
And it was Carol Fury penciling it. And I remember, this is one of my famous stories. I was working 3:00 in the morning, had the radio on, working on a double page spread that was in the IMN Armory. So it was a double page spread with like 30 IMN outfits.
Oh wow! Oh
And
yeah, I know that. Yeah.
yeah, and on the radio came "I am an Iron Man," and I was like,
Oh
"Yeah."
nice. I have a Calafiore story too. He's a pisser. But
Go ahead.
by the way, Sketch Therapy said they don't think they've been getting alerts from you, from the YouTube for months. They haven't caught you live because they didn't know you're on. So
Oh,
for most
you
of the
gotta
last 2 months.
click the bell. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I usually set up a stream before I go live. If you're not getting alerts, I should put together a newsletter actually for
Yeah,
all
that might be
people.
why things have dropped off a little.
Yeah,
Also,
but I appreciate you coming by.
someone asked. I'm going into my Q&A mode. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, bro.
With your connections with your family and everything, does that help you get work? They asked, especially when they ran Event Comics and Marvel Nights.
Well, me and Jimmy have done a couple of things, little things, more so earlier in my career. I started inking comics back in 1991, so I've been doing it. Well, September 9th, I sort of made up the day, but it was somewhere around there that I got into comics, working in comics. Yeah, we done like a bunch of random stuff. Like, we inked a couple of projects together. We've done pinups and okay, here's one thing. When the DVD of the first X-Men movie came out, there was I think the second one came out. There was a mini comic in the DVD that me and Jimmy inked together.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you can find that, it's probably worth thousands of dollars. I don't know. But we've done random stuff together. But mostly, I was doing background inks for my brother for the first couple of years, because I knew when I decided to become an inker that I pretty much sucked, and I was trying to get work from any independent publisher I saw at conventions, because that's how you did it back in the day. And I knew I worked on my skills, like, I mean, for the first decade or two, every single day, to up my skill, to up my ability. And yeah, so I did background inks for my brother. Initially it was just filling in blacks, but eventually I was inking backgrounds. I've also done background inks for other inkers. I worked at Valiant as a background inker for less than a year. Also worked at Defiant in the evenings for a short period of time. Both started by Jim Shooter. But what is being Jimmy Palmiotti and now Amanda being my sister-in-law? What does that help? It's like people recognize the name, but I never tried to take advantage of it. I was always, we've had different circles of friends. Obviously, back in the day, Jimmy and Joe Quesada had parties in New York all the time. And I
Yeah.
went to a bunch of those. People will recognize me. If I show up in their face, oh yeah, I remember you from way back when. It's like, I mean, I remember meeting Mike McNoller. I met Garth Ennis. There's so many people from back when. But I really didn't use him to my advantage in my career. I tried to do it on my own power and steam, and
Well, you succeeded.
yeah, and it's worked. It's like he is. I wouldn't say he's the top end, but he's up there. He's successful. Amanda's definitely successful. And they both make a good income. I'm the starving artist. I'm the guy plugging away each day and barely getting by. I don't give a shit. It's like,
well, that's why you answer me and Jimmy now ignores me.
yeah, there you go.
No, I don't see it that way. I knew your accomplishments, and I respect what you've done. So, I mean, we all have our own journeys.
Yeah, it's like I really like I said, I'm most known for my Aquaman stuff. My dream is to it's like I'm working on retro. That would be the first of my superhero comics. I got 7 different characters I want to do, and then I got a team book I want to do. So I'm
Nice.
slowly creating my own universe of books. So I want to be a small publisher, essentially. And I got a bunch of artists that want to work with me. And I thought the most brilliant thing I could do as somebody who loves inking is to hire artists so I can ink them. So that's my goal. The books won't be monthly, but I'll do them as fast as I can, and I'll be working on a bunch of different artists, and it'll be doing what I love and creating my own little niche.
I'm enjoying watching you ink that now. It's clean.
Thanks.
But you talked about Jim Calafiore. Jim, he's forgetful with names. He's bad at remembering names, and he uses the F word a lot when you talk to him. And so I was talking to him at Phoenix. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you could tell he doesn't remember my name, but he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" So we're talking. And I said, "You don't remember my name, do you?" He goes, "No, I don't." So I said, "Listen, you're always using the F-bomb. It's easy to remember my name. Just call me F and Phil." So every time I saw him, he'd call me F and Phil. And then I was like, "Do you want to come to the show?" He goes, "Yeah." Is it called F and Phil's Con? I'm like, "No." He goes, "You should call it F and Phil's Con." So I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think it's family friendly to put the F-bomb in the title of my show, but thanks for the suggestion." So if you see Jim, he'll be like, "Yeah, I did F and Phil's Con." He's a good guy. He's a funny guy, and he's a good guy.
Yeah, he is really good, and he's still tearing it up. I gotta ask him if he's going to be. I saw something where he's going to be doing another. What was it?
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis. Yeah.
Megalopolis, yeah.
I really liked the first book. I think they were going to. The second book came out through Dark Horse, but I didn't have any comic stores around me, so I didn't catch it. I heard they were going to kickstart it possibly. I gotta check in.
He just had a Kickstarter last summer, but I don't know if it was for that. I forget.
It could have been for something else.
Yeah, but I know he plans on doing more with that. So I just don't know when.
Yeah.
He's been kind of quiet. I haven't seen him on social media. So I don't know.
Yeah, usually means he's busy.
Yeah, but he's a good guy. I mean, he's funny because sometimes he comes across as grumpy, but he's not. He's funny and he's nice. He's what I mean?
Yeah. No, totally not at all. I loved our millions of conversations, and we'd see each other at conventions.
And he's like 9 feet tall, for Christ's sake. He's a tall guy. You don't know until he stands up.
Yeah, he's tall. Maybe not 9 feet, but he's tall.
Well, I mean, I'm 6 foot, and he stands up. I'm like, damn, you're tall, dude.
Yeah. I originally know him from Valiant. I mean, back in the day, those that don't know, Valiant was set up to where the writers, the editors, the pencilers, the inkers, the colorists, production, everybody was in the same office. They worked there Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, and you worked in the office. And that always inspired me to one day I'm going to make my own studio and it'll be like that. And I love that experience that I had. And, you know, I've worked at other studios. I freaking worked up in the bullpen at times, which is unheard of for an inker because that's just production.
Right.
But they needed pages over, you know, like within the next hour or two, and they say, "Do you mind working in the production bullpen?" I was like, "No, not at all." And then I would see Spider-Man, you know, walking around the office with a gang behind him. And he would be, you know, he'd be doing a Marvel tour, and it'd be like, this is freaking hilarious.
So how do you focus?
It's difficult, but you get it done. But what was I going to mention? I don't even know. Cal Furry, he's a great guy. Yeah. Valiant. I made a lot of friends at Valiant. You know, Cal Furry being one of them. Joe St. Pierre. Every time I see him, it's a pleasure. He's super talent. But that guy, what's his name that you're gonna have on tomorrow night? Sean
Chen.
Sean Chen.
Sean Chen. Yeah, he started at Valiant. Right. Yeah, Expo Man of War and Rye and all that stuff.
He I'll tell you a Sean Chen story. On my first day there, you know, after I got approved by Don Perlin and Bob Layton to work there, you know, Bob goes, you know, like we're on one side of the office. He goes, "There's tables over there. Grab an open table. Here's a page to work on. No instructions. Just work on this page. Do background inks." So I go over there and I'm sitting next to Sean. I don't know Sean at that point. And there's like people to the left of me, people in front of me, people behind me. And I'm like, okay, I just got to work. I get some tools out and start working on the page. And I'm literally inking the page, like the background inks, like Robert Crumb. Like, I don't know what style or approach. I have no reference. I'm just like, pick a style and went with it. And the guy in front of me, it turns out, is the artist of the page. And he turns around and starts bawling me out. And Sean tells him, slow down. You know, it's his first day. He doesn't know how to approach it. You know, Sean stuck up for me, and I always appreciate that. He's awesome.
Let me tell you, Sean is not only the nicest, humblest guy in the world. He's funny as hell, but he delivers everything so deadpan that sometimes if you're not really listening, you don't realize he just threw a joke at you. And he's also very intelligent. He's a very smart man, and he'll have a very quick wit and a very sharp joke. And I'll sit there and giggle or laugh at something he says, and it went by over the head of someone standing next to us. And I think that's kind of how like Sean and I started to talk, because I understood Sean. Because he's very quiet and unassuming. And when he speaks, it's very low and it's kind of monotone. And he's a very humble man. But he has a great sense of humor. And if you focus on his tone, you don't realize he just said something really funny. So I like Sean a lot. He's a great guy, fellow Queens native too. So, but it'll be fun to have him on tomorrow. And he wrote that book, The Seventh Sign, based on the Seventh Sign, and he wrote it. And it was such a great story. And he put it up on Instagram every week, a page, and he wrote it and he drew it, and it looked fantastic. And then he put it out, I think, with the people from Heavy Metal. I'm not sure. A little book, and I bought it from him, and I love the story. But now he renamed it Wingman, and he's selling it tomorrow only to sell the book. So it just so happened it correlated with him being on my show. So I hope he does really well at the sales, because he really truly is one of the humble people in the industry, and he really is a good person. He's a good guy. I even have a piece of art of Batman from his son when he was 9.
Oh, sweet, sweet.
Yeah, he's a good
Yeah,
guy.
he is definitely, and I'm not sure of my schedule. I'll definitely catch it live if I can. If not, I'll watch it afterwards. But
Yeah, I look. I appreciate anybody watching it at any time. Views are views, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So unless there's any more, diehard questions towards me, um, I think we've been going an hour and 20 minutes. So if there's anything we missed that you want to talk about, or just plug everything you got going on, then by all means.
well, first, thanks again for having me on. I really appreciate it. I've never been a guest before. I want to say thanks to everybody that's there, especially Rogues Gallery, that's been supporting the show, because you're not just supporting me, you're supporting all the artists that come on there, all the writers that come on there, all the people that the exposure helps. So when I tell you to please follow and share and like and all that, it really is so that they get more exposure. So thank you for that. Thanks, Peter, for having me on. It's nice to meet you and talk to you in person. I do love your work from Marvel
Thanks.
and DC. And yeah, CreatorCon, it's the convention that I run. It's on hiatus right now, but our celebrities are the creators of comics. If you're a comic book fan, that is the show to go to. Nothing against pop culture by any means, but for comic fans, art fans, fans of writers, that's the show to go to. And I have to admit, forgive me if this sounds arrogant, I was getting the best artist alley of any one day show you'll ever find. I mean, I was getting Adam Kubert, Sterenko, and Joe St. Pierre was there, and Art T. Bear, and Mike Hawthorne, who doesn't do conventions, and I got him out of retirement, and Scott Williams, and Sean Chen, and Larry Stroman, Keith Williams, and Mark Bagley. So I get a lot of big names, and Billy Tucci. I get a lot of big names, but I also, in my opinion, have the best local talent you'll ever find at my shows. The local artists are phenomenal. If you don't know their names, you will know them by the time you leave my show. So I will say that, and I have wall-to-wall comic books. As far as the CreatorCon Q&A, yes, it's on my Facebook page, Phil Russertt. It's on the CreatorCon Facebook page, and it airs off our YouTube page, which is CreatorCon Event, which is a new page. So if you could please go subscribe, hit the bell for alerts, share, like, comment. Comments are huge. The more comments, the more attention is brought to whatever page you're on, etc. And the show really is for artists and for the fans. So please, if you can come out and support the YouTube, I'd appreciate it. Of course, Peter has way more subscribers than me, but please come out and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to his channel, watch his channel. And because Peter has been nothing but awesome to me since I've met him. So please pay it forward or pay it back. When people are kind, we should be kind back and support artists. And his book that's going to be coming out, I know I'm going to support it. So I hope you all do. And that's it. So, I mean, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun.
Thanks. There's one question I guess we can address. It came from the radio, and that's my friend Mark Torres. How do you feel the con scene will change after the pandemic?
I have a totally different view than everybody else, and maybe it's just the optimist in me. I think people keep talking about how the virtual cons are the way of the future, and I don't think so at all. I think they're a fad right now because we have nothing else. I mean, if you think about it, and I mean no disrespect, but a virtual con, well, my idea of a vendor is I go to Amazon and eBay, so it's not new. You miss the energy of your con. So I think they're going to come back strong. Unfortunately, some of the smaller ones have dropped off, and I feel bad for those individuals, but at the same time, it might be good overall for the future of conventions because they were getting oversaturated. I think the bubble was bursting. And I think that as bad as COVID is, and I'm not downplaying how it's impacted people, as far as strictly the convention scene, I think it's going to make there be another desire for conventions again. People are going to be clamoring to come out to them once they feel safe. I don't think that we're going to see. I think people are going to be pushing back conventions again in the beginning of 2021, sadly, because I think it's too soon. But I think by 2022 we'll be back. We'll be strong. I think conventions will probably have that fandom again. And yeah, I know the Con New Hampshire is a friend of mine, Jason. Attendance wasn't what it normally is for him. Of course, he had capacity issues too that he had to adhere to, but it was successful. There were people that wanted to be there. So I
Yeah.
think it's going to pick up again. The obstacles right now are fans feeling safe and your celebrities feeling safe. Even if fans feel safe, am I going to be able to get Peter to fly from Kentucky if he doesn't feel comfortable yet? If am I going to get Art Tiber from California, Norm Ratman from California? I don't know. So I think if we're patient, things will get back to it.
Yeah. It's funny. A friend of mine is doing a show this weekend. I forget where it is, but there's actually shows happening now. It's a small show, and he wanted me to table with him, and he's like, "I could drive and pick you up," and I'm like, "No, not right now. Let's wait a little longer and see." More and more things are opening up. You got movie theaters opening up now. You got gyms already open. Eventually everything will be back to a certain degree.
A vaccine is going to make a lot of people feel safer.
Yeah, so we'll get there. Yeah, I believe that's true. Yeah, so everybody go to the YouTube page for CreatorCon Event. Subscribe to that channel. Check out past episodes and catch the new ones live when they happen. Phil, this has been great talking with you, and definitely we'll be in contact, and I would love to come out to your show. Absolutely.
And just so you know, if your campaign for your book, your creator-owned series comes out before January, I'd be happy to put you out. We'll add a date in a week.
Okay.
Whatever week makes sense for your book. So
Definitely.
You wouldn't wait till January. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, I would accommodate you, make room for you any day that you want. So.
Oh, awesome. And I'll mention. Thank you so much to everybody who showed up in the chat. It was way too much to keep track of everybody and everybody's comments, but I do appreciate everybody's comments, and I'll go back and read everybody's. So if you have any specific questions, I'll address it next time. But yeah, love you all. Appreciate you all. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't. And share it with your friend. That's really important. Share my video out to your friends, and so people can check it out to get to know me a little bit, since I've been interrogated, and to get to know Philip.
Sorry, my Q&A host came out a little bit.
No problem. So yeah.